Welcome to Algebra 2. This is synthetic division with polynomial functions. So we did long division before, and now we're going to focus on synthetic division. The key with synthetic division is we have to be dividing by an x minus r, so the coefficient there has to be 1. And then we are only going to pay attention to these coefficients throughout. So you can tell that we are dividing by b minus 2. So this is in the correct form because that coefficient is 1. So now we're just going to write down the coefficients of what we have here. So we have a 6 on our b to the 4th, a negative 8 on our b to the 3rd. There is no b to the 2nd, so we're going to put a 0 for a placeholder in, 12 for the b, and then negative 14. Now what we're dividing by, this b minus 2, that goes in this little box on the opposite side, and we're going to always place our r over there. So in this case it's 2. Leave one blank space, draw a line, put a straight bar down at the bottom. Then the process to synthetic divide is you drop down the first value, so we drop down 6. And now we're going to take this and we're going to multiply this 6 by this 2. So 6 times 2 is 12. Now we're going to take it and we're going to add negative 8 and 12. Negative 8 plus 12 is 4. Then we just keep repeating the process. So we're going to multiply 4 times 2 to give us 8. And then we're going to add 0 and 8 to give us 8. Continue the process. We're going to multiply 8 times 2 to give us 16. And then we are going to add 12 and 16 to give us 28. Continuing the process, we'll multiply 28 and 2 to give us 56. And then we're going to add negative 14 plus 56 to give us 42. Now this value over here, this ends up being our remainder. And since we divided by a b minus 2, our first exponent will start with 1 less than what we have here. So we start with a b to the 4th, so our first exponent will be b to the 3rd, and its coefficient will be the first coefficient listed, so 6. So we have 6b to the 3rd, then plus, our next coefficient is 4, and then b squared. We're just going to move down an exponent every time. And then plus 8b, and then plus 28. And then our remainder is 42 over, we were dividing everything by this b minus 2, so over b minus 2. So that's our process for synthetic division. We'll do one more example. Here we have 8y to the 5th minus 2y to the 4th minus 16y squared plus 4 divided by 4y minus 1. Notice, here we're dividing by 4y minus 1. But for synthetic division to work, it must be divided by x minus r, where that coefficient is 1. So the first thing we have to do is make this coefficient 1. So to do that, we're going to divide absolutely everything by 4. This is perfectly fine because dividing is like a fraction. So it's like we have 8y to the 5th minus 2y to the 4th minus 16y squared plus 4 over 4y minus 4. And with fractions, we can certainly divide both the bottom and the top by 4. Okay, so we're going to take this and divide everything by 4 and then rewrite down what our polynomial is. So when we do that, we now have 8 divided by 4 is 2, so 2y to the 5th, minus 2 divided by 4 is a half, so 1/2 y to the 4th. Notice that we go from a 4th power to a 2nd power. So we have plus 0y to the 3rd. 16 divided by 4 is 4, so we have 4y squared. Notice we go from a 2nd power to no power, so we have a plus 0y in there. And then plus 4 divided by 4 is 1. Now we are dividing all of that by 4 divided by 4 is 1y minus 1/4. So now from here, we can now do synthetic division with our rewritten polynomial after we've divided everything by 4. So we're going to list out 2 for our y to the 5th, negative 1/2 for our y to the 4th, 0 for our y to the 3rd, negative 4 for our y to the 2nd, 0 for our y, and 1 for the end. And then we are dividing by the y minus 1/4, so over in our box we're going to put a positive 1/4, leave one blank row, put our straight line down for our remainder. And now we just have to do the synthetic division process. So we're going to drop down the first value, which is 2, and now we will multiply our 2 by our 1/4. 2 times 1/4 is 1/2. Now we add negative 1/2 plus 1/2 is 0. Repeat the process. 0 times 1/4 is 0. We add 0 and 0 to give us 0. We multiply. 0 times 1/4 is still 0. We add negative 4 plus 0 is negative 4. We now multiply. Negative 4 times 1/4 is negative 1. We add 0 and negative 1 is negative 1. We then multiply. Negative 1 times 1/4 is negative 1/4. We add 1/4 and negative 1/4 to give us 3/4. Now we can write out our polynomial. Since we started with a y to the 5th power, our first coefficient will have a y to the 4th power. So this will be 2y to the 4th. We do not have a y to the 3rd because there's a 0. We do not have a y squared because there's a 0. So our next one is just minus 4y and then minus 1 plus our remainder of 3/4 over our y minus 1/4. Notice here this remainder portion we have fractions in, and we know that we never leave fractions in fractions. So to remedy to this, we could times top and bottom by 4. We chose 4 here because the denominator of 3/4 is 4 and the denominator of 1/4 is 4. So we still have our 2y to the 4th minus our 4y minus 1, and then plus 3/4 times 4 is 3 over 4 times y minus 1/4. 4 times y is 4y minus 1/4 times 4 is 1. So here is our divided polynomial, and that's the process of synthetic division.